The fast forward formula are 5 elements that, when used correctly, can help you improve and develop your windsurfing at almost every level in almost every skill. It works well for instructors to really simplify what it is we're trying to get across to the students, and for the students themselves to use as a fault analysis tool, try and work out why things aren't quite as successful as they want to be, as they hope and wish they could be. So let's break it down and really understand what these elements are and how we can use them. So here we are on a windy afternoon in Vasiliki, blowing maybe 20 or so knots. I'm really quite powered up on a 5.9 spy from 0.7 and 130 litre carve from starboard. We're just starting to hit the flat water up here near the mountain. And we're going to break apart these 5 elements. And I think the easiest way to really start to understand them is have one skill that we're focusing on. And so that skill that we'll look at through this will be improving our general blasting control, in particular upwind blasting. So we're looking at the high level of intermediates, but I'll relate this back to beginners and low intermediate level too, because it is the same thing that you learn all the way up and through. So element number 1, top of the list, and the one that's most commonly missed and gone wrong, your vision. Look where you want to go to maintain your sailing line. Beginners, we pick a goal point and we aim towards it. That's the introduction of vision. Right now though, my head, my shoulders, my hips, and my front foot have all started to twist there to look up towards the wind, because that's where I want to go. Trim. A flat board is a fast board. So to get me planing now and into those straps, the board needs to be flat from front to back and from windward to leeward. That's heel edge or toe edge of the board. At beginner level, we stay on the center line of the board. That keeps the board nice and flat. It goes where it wants to go. As intermediates, we need to start moving out and back down the board and towards the foot straps in order to keep that board flat as it speeds up. There's times that we might deliberately change that. For example, right now, if I want to go upwind more, vision starts it, trim, I'm now applying heel edge pressure. That's stopping the board being flat from windward to leeward and ever so slightly starting to carve that board upwind. It's still flat from front to back though, as much as possible, or I just store on the tail and slow down. Counterbalance forms our framework, opposing the forces of the rig. Every time that rig starts to come to the back, my body has to come forwards to counterbalance that. That's taking me upwind right now. We learned that as a beginner, exactly the same. If the rig went forwards and across, my body would go back and down, or I'd just get catapulted out the front. Now I'm bringing the rig towards the back because I'm trying to sail upwind more. My body is starting to come forwards to oppose that action. Power. Power is channeling the forces of the rig. I've got all this power here. How do I make it actually accelerate me forwards? And in order to get the power on and channel that power correctly, we need to do 3 things with the sail. As a beginner, we learn about sheeting the sail in or out. That's effectively pulling with our back hand to close the sail and sheet in. As we're speeding up intermediates towards advanced, that's starting to pull the sail more and more towards the back and pulling the sail down ever so slightly as well to channel that power and make me speed up. And finally, stance, how we use our body, often seen as a checklist as to whether everything else is going right. Because if your stance is correct, probably everything else is going pretty well too. Sailing upwind right now, I'm in a standard 7. From my front arm to my shoulder, down through my hips to my front leg. If I wanted to accelerate and speed off downwind, but dropping lower into that super 7. Now bringing it back upwind in that standard 7, or when I'm hitting a little bit of a lull, so to hold me on the plane, I'm straightening that body up just that little bit more. It's not find a stance and stick with it. There's a lot of adjustments and changes that should be happening to find a stance that's working. Straight to 7, hold me through that lull. There's a gust, drop down a little bit more. So as you progress from a beginner, intermediate, and then really start moving through the advanced skills, understanding these 5 elements, the fast forward formula, knowing how to apply them, when to use, or possibly even when to break and adapt each one along the way, the better your skills will develop, and the easier you'll be able to pick apart what's going wrong with them if you can't quite make it round your carve drives or get in the foot straps or stay upwind. You can use that fast forward formula to pick it all apart and find the problem. Thanks for joining me here on the Ridealong session as usual in Vasiliki through the summers. If you haven't already, don't forget to hit that little subscribe button down on the bottom. And even join the Patreon account where you'll find loads of extra sessions that are not available through the normal YouTube links. In particular, the walk-along sessions where I go into depth on questions that get thrown at me through this, and I just want to elaborate a little bit more. A little comment on the bottom of a YouTube video is not enough, so I'll answer them where I can in the walk-along sessions. Well, thanks for joining me. I will see you on the water for another one very soon. Okay.